Hi, everybody. My name is Lindsay, and I'm a Bravoholic.
You're preaching to the choir. It's bravo, bravo, bravo.
Honey, you have to stop saying that.
Hello, I'm Thomas Norman, and I'm a Bravoholic.
Thomas, I'm really glad that you've made weekly meetings now, specifically for the Valley.
Yeah, I'm really sticking to the program. Thank you for being my sponsor. It's really helpful.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, it's important to give back to our community. And I do think you're a value here. And the Valley is crazy, so I need somebody to talk to about it.
My friend from work who loves Vanderpump isn't even watching the Valley. And I was like, okay, even I'm doing that.
They don't love Vanderpump. They're liars. Did you tell them? Be like, you're a liar.
Posers. She was like, I don't like Jax. I was like, okay, get with it. Nobody does.
Yeah. I mean,
Watch the
there
Valley.
are people.
Watch the Valley. He's so much better in the Valley.
Like, respect. There are people on TikTok and stuff that are saying, I don't think Jax should be on TV. I am not going to watch the show if he's on it. Like, and that's fine. You can do that, but I'm going to watch the Valley still. Because I think that
still watch it, yeah.
Even though Jax is horrible and we are giving him a platform, I do believe that these cameras saved Brittany's life. Being on the show has saved her life, and that it's going to save many more lives because there's all these women watching the show, seeing this happen and maybe going, wait, that apple doesn't fall far from my tree. Maybe I'm in something toxic too.
This was giving straight up intervention, someone's rock bottom, come to Jesus moment, uncomfortable, life shattering moment. And I was like, I'm watching this.
So today we're going to cover both episode 2 and episode 3, but let's start with episode 2. I'm calling this Jax's intervention episode. And I think that's what the editors and the producers kind of put together here, because we see Jax's story weaved throughout the entire episode, and it's almost these bullet points of intervention. Without doing one big group, he's visited by many people in his life that are encouraging him today to go to this place. So Kristen comes over and tells him that this should be his rock bottom because he can't see his kid. Jason and Danny, who I'm calling the golden boys of the Valley right now, because they're like the dads and the ones that aren't complete pieces of shit and are still in their relationships and their marriages. So I'm calling them the golden boys. The golden boys come over, and Jax even says this in his own words, is this my intervention? Jax FaceTimes his sister, and Jax gets a call from the mental health facility working out the details of him checking in. And then Brittany comes.
Yeah, when Kristen came over and talked to Jax about how, hey, this is your rock bottom. I don't understand how you can't think this is not your rock bottom. And first of all, her dog just laying on the counter really sent me. I was just like, that's kind of gross. And then when she goes, it's really hard on Brittany. And he says, well, what about me? Like, immediately said, what about me? And then when she talked about how he would call Brittany fat, and he goes, oh, come on, I love women who look like her. Okay, well, how about her? How about her?
Literally, how about
that
her?
Is your wife. That is your wife.
To be like, I love women that look like her implies that he's like actively admiring other women.
And also, instead of saying, I love the way my wife looks, you say, I love the way people that look like my wife look. What?
It's not like I love my wife, like, or I love Brittany. It's none of that. So we know that he's this giant toxic monster, and we know that he is literally life endangering. Like, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and like make a generalization because that's what this is all about. And again, I'm only really reviewing what these public figures are putting out into the ether and what they're saying about each other. I'm not diagnosing anybody, but like, Jax is really scary. And if all of his friends are coming forward and saying that he talks to Brittany this poor way, and we're seeing it in this episode, I can't imagine what and this is at a high place for Jax, like starting season 2 of the show that he was pushing for years after Vanderpump. I can't imagine what he was like at his low points at home, what the pandemic was like for them, and what she was putting up with in his behavior. Mm-hmm. It's scary.
Every new low I see from him in my current watching of Vanderpump is more and more shocking. And I think about where he is now, and yeah, it all lines up. But it's just every time I'm like, wow, that's a new level of douchebaggery.
Right. And you could tell he's embarrassed when the guys come over and like try to do this scene with him where they're talking about where he's going and what he has to do. So he like kind of cuts them off and takes a phone call. Okay,
that phone call was so fake.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, everyone on TikTok is saying that. Everyone on TikTok is like, it's AI, the call that Jax got is fake, he staged it. And here's what I think really happened. I think they did plan for him to call the facility before he checked in. And the only thing that wasn't arranged for him, because they don't make these check-in processes difficult. They just want to make sure you can pay for it because they don't want you to second guess coming and getting help if you're at that point. Like, I'm sure there's a whole process and procedure to make sure that they don't spook off the person that's coming to check in, right? So I'm sure everything was already aligned up for Jax because I was listening to Brittany's podcast and she had Kristen on and they were talking about, okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. Jax did an interview with Alex Baskin on his podcast. Alex Baskin is one of the producers of the show, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. He's a longtime Bravo producer. He has his hand in all the big property pots. And he has, as of this year, a podcast that I believe is post-produced by Bravo because at the end of every episode, he says, log into bravotv.com if you want to see the rest of this interview or if you want to see things left out from this interview. So I think he's partnered with them, which is smart because he's kind of like establishing who he is because that guy better come out with a tell-all book, just like Andy. Andy better have like 16 volumes and he better start now before he starts forgetting. But I want to read the tell-alls or like pre-order them for later or something. You know what I mean? But anyway, Jax went on Alex Baskin's podcast and was talking about coming out as an addict and getting help. And they released it, I don't know if it was the same day as this episode or a couple days before the season started when the news came out that Jax has been struggling with cocaine addiction. And it was kind of like a safe space with a producer that's known him for years to help guide the conversation and let Jax have a platform to say the things that might not be shown on the show, which I think is also enticing for some of these egos, right? Like if they're on a reality show and they're like, I'm not being heard. My side of the story is not being told. Something that Jax would say, like, what about my experience? What about you? What you've done to me, Brittany? What about me? This gives him a platform to do it. So he went on and he did it. And it's a great listen. I highly recommend everyone listens to it. But as a result, Brittany had Kristen on her podcast, announced that it was just hers now and that Jax was no longer going to be on that podcast because it used to be a couples podcast. And then she pointed out that she counted 31 things that he lied about in that 1 hour interview. And then she stopped counting. And then she highlighted some of them. So right now I'm going to play for you a couple of juxtaposing sound bites from those two podcasts that I think will paint a really good picture of what we're missing on the show and more insight into Jax's narrative about getting all this help and then Brittany's narrative of what she says is really happening behind the scenes.
Let's dive in, shall we?
Cruz had a doctor's appointment and we had to leave the house at like 10:30. So I was being nice and I was like, if you want to come to the doctor's appointment, be at my house by 10:30, blah, blah, blah. Well, then he started like sending me a bunch of like awful messages and being rude to me the night before. And I said, I can tell you're out. I can tell you're partying. Please do not come to my house tomorrow. Please do not show up. I can go to this doctor's appointment by myself. I just don't feel like it's going to be good for you and I. He shows up anyway the next morning, even though I told him not to. And our doctor is in Beverly Hills. Like at certain times a day, that can take you over an hour to get there. So I'm like, we have to go. We have to be there at a certain time. And I kept being like, are you hungover? And of course, he just lies and denies and, just will never admit what he did the night before, even though I can like see telltale signs on his face.
And when he's lying.
I know when he's lying.
Knows that he's lying. So
but he still was like, I'm coming. This is my son. I'm coming. That was the whole thing. This is my son. I'm coming too.
Which is also how you know that he's hungover coming down, which he said on the podcast too. So
yes.
We're not putting words in his mouth, but his lack of patience is like
it's awful.
Infinity.
Yeah,
and
it's awful.
Snapping at you.
So we finally get into the car and we're on our way. And even though I didn't want to, I promise you, I did not want to. I knew that was a mistake as soon as I got in the car. So we're in the car, and before anything happens, he's just coming down on me about the bar opening, being like, it's his bar, like just screaming at me over all kinds of things before any guy ever texted my phone, because he mentions on the podcast that my phone was plugged in to the GPS, which it was, and a guy texted me, which all that's true. But he was already in a horrible mood and already fighting with me and making me cry before that ever even happened. Let me make that clear. Before a guy ever texted my phone, he was already at my throat. He was already making me cry. And I was in the car for at least 30 minutes at that point. I kept, we almost pulled over so I could get out and call an Uber and put me and Cruz in an Uber. Like, it was bad. So then whenever this guy texts my phone, his name pops up on, the screen in the car. He loses it. He starts trying to grab my phone, and Cruz is in the back seat in his car seat. That alone is horrible. So he's reaching over, grabbing my phone, yelling at me, saying all this stuff. Then he starts saying the most despicable things you could ever say to your ex, talking about other girls, talking about how they're going. I mean, I don't want to go into too much details.
It's really bad.
But
just imagine
the worst things a guy could say about being with other girls in front of the girl that they were married for 10 years to, or in a relationship with for 10 years. Yeah. So he's doing all this, and we finally get to the place. I'm bawling, crying, and I'm like, please do not come upstairs. Please do not come upstairs to the doctor's office. I already knew that I was calling an Uber on the way home. Like, there was no doubting that. I'm never getting in a car with that man again. I go upstairs. We're in the doctor's office. 5 minutes later, Jack shows up, and he walks into our room, yelling at me, screaming at me. And then the doctor walks in, and he puts on this face like everything's fine, and doesn't act like anything's wrong, and we're doing everything for Cruz. I'm even smiling, going along with it, because I don't want this is embarrassing. This is our doctor's appointment. Every time the doctor's left, why is this guy texting you? What is going on? Blah, blah, blah. Would not drop it. Would not stop letting me down. Would not stop coming on to me. And I was just like, this is horrible. This is horrible. Finally, the doctor's the visit is over. I take an Uber home. I come home to my house, and, I'm like, you're not coming in here. We Uber, follow behind, do the drop off with Cruz, lock the doors. Cruz is in the house. Thank God my nanny was here, because she was cleaning that day or something. She's literally the best person ever. I love her. She's my family. But she was here that day, and Jax walks around to the back. Well, I have a sliding door, and he just lets himself in, and I'm like, you cannot be in here. It was a really, really, really bad situation. I'm trying not to give too many details but just imagine how
the amount of stress.
Yes. And Zuli, who's my nanny, she comes over and stands in front of me, and she's like, you have to leave. So he finally leaves. And that's also whenever he got into that hit and run. Mm-hmm. And that was the very same day after he left this house. So there was just so much stuff piling on top of it.
Stay the full time. Why leave after 17 days?
I felt like I should have, to be honest, I could have left sooner, but I just felt like the second time around I was in there, and I'm like, okay. I needed a little bit of I felt it's like I learned to ride a bike, and I was doing good, and then I fell, and I needed a little bit of, I needed to go back just to be maybe a little bit of a humble pie, maybe a piece of okay, listen, this problem, this addiction, this sickness is bigger than you think it is. I know you think you're a man and you can control it all and you're this, but you can't. This is why you're back here, because this drug is bigger than you are, and you need to take it seriously, and you need to not half-ass it. And I was like, you're right. And I dug deep, and I took over like the groups in therapy. I tried to be a mentor to some people, and I loved it the second time. I was really a little bit more into it because I was a little bit more like, man, I was just fucking here. It was embarrassing. But then I used it. I'm like, I just left this place literally a month ago, and I'm already fucking back. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But I used that as a like, even somebody like me, you know, who on paper has it all. I do. I'm very fortunate. I have a healthy child. I have a healthy wife. I had a house. I have everything going. And I still found a way to fuck it up. And I think that was important because most people that are in rehab don't have anything to lose. I had a lot to lose. Yeah. So people were looking up to me. They're like, wow, this guy's got it all. What the fuck is he doing? We don't have anything and we're doing this. We get it, you know? So I think people were liking that a little bit.
I want to focus to begin with on the second rehab stint, and we'll get into the first as well. What prompted you to get help the second time?
You know, I got a lot out of it the first time, and then when I was out, I was like, okay, I can get this. There was an incident. Brittany and I were actually on their way to a doctor's appointment for our son, and her phone was connected to my car, and a man's name came up, and it just triggered me. I did slip after the first incident, and I did take substance the night before. And the next day is always the worst when you're after this. The next day is the worst. I lost it. I went crazy in the car, you know, yelling. And the worst part about all of this, and this is why I checked myself in, is that my son was in the back seat. And that's when I knew, I'm like, shit, I have a problem. It's still there. Like, I was very aware. I was yelling, and then I turned my head, and I see my son back there. I'm just like, this was just utter disgust.
So what I did is I called his sister, my manager, my publicist, and Alex Baskin. And I called all of them, and I was like, this is horrible. He has not changed whatsoever. He's trying to act like in public that he's this like mental health advocate and he's this and that and he's so much better and he's, you know, giving all these excuses and doing all these like victim mentality things. And I was like, it's not fair. I was like, I am being yelled at and this is a struggle on my everyday life. I was like, something has to be done. So on the podcast, Jax says that he looked in the back seat and realized that Cruz was there, and that's why he had to go. That's not true. And I don't care. I'm going to call that out.
Yeah.
If I hadn't called all of these people and Alex Baskin and his
basically
job
demanded like an intervention.
Yeah, an intervention. If his job wasn't threatened yet again, like it was the first time around, he would not have went.
And Brittany was like, you need to go back. And I didn't even put up a fight. Like the first time I kind of put up a little bit of a fight. This one I was like, you're right. I didn't put up a fight. I'm like, I gotta go back.
And then Brittany reached out to a few people, including Lori, your publicist, Ryan, your manager, and me. We talked about the incident. You agreed to go, and this was over the holidays, right? So it was a very dark time for you.
Mm-hmm. And it made me very upset that he tried to act like, oh, I saw Cruz in the back seat, and I was like, that's whenever I had to go.
Because it's a good story, but the bottom line for you as your best friend is he didn't and couldn't and he could not and he did not do it for you or Cruz.
No.
And that's what was a huge like anchor of like pissing you off, upsetting you, making you heartbroken.
Yeah.
Was like, how could you not do it for us, but you could do it for this?
Yeah.
And so when you hear that and people are like, oh, he did it for his son, and then you're just like, fuck you.
No, it's like, no, that's absolutely not true. That's not true. He denied he had a problem. And even the night before, more truths I'm going to spill because this was over the holidays. So I was having a Thanksgiving. I always host like a Friendsgiving on Thanksgiving. And I was terrified that he was going to show up uninvited to my house because he kept saying, that's my house. I'll come if I want to. Stuff like that, even though it's not. So he says, you know, that he was going to show up. So I was so scared. So getting everybody involved and him thinking that he might lose his job and this and this and that, he decides to check into a actual rehab facility. Finally, like starts kind of saying...
Which is different than the first place.
Which is different than the first place.
The first place was more of like a mental health facility.
Yes. First place was a mental health facility, which I desperately wanted him to go to too. You will see that on season 2 of The Valley, like how that came along. But I can only talk about things that are happening recent. But for the second time, we were like, you need to go in not only for mental health, but you need to, say something about how you have an addiction to cocaine. And he fought it. I don't have a problem. I only do it when I'm drinking. I don't have a problem. This and this and that. Never would admit it. So finally, he gets checked into the first place and leaves after one day. So he leaves. He checks in for one night, leaves on Thanksgiving morning. And I'm getting all these calls while I'm cooking a huge dinner for like 25 of my friends that he's already signed out of rehab after one day. And I was devastated. I'm crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the worst. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And ultimately, he goes back to the same place that he went to for the first 30 days, months before. Then he says that he only stayed for 17 days the second time. Failed drug tests at both places. Let's make that clear. But still left early, thought that he had had enough. So this is why I am very...
I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but the impression I got on the after show was that he's accepted some, the only thing he's taking accountability for is his drug problem.
Yeah.
He's like, that I ruined a lot of lives with that. But then he continues to just pathologically lie. And I was like, oh, so he's not really that different.
What I'm thinking is after we talk about the episode, then we'll do bullets on the after show and what we thought. And I have prompted questions like, what do you think about Benji? Like things like that on the after show. And then we'll go into episode 3. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. So yeah, the Golden Boys call Jax and then he calls the mental health facility. And this takes us full circle. I think everyone on TikTok is saying that this was a fake call, that Jax faked this call. Jax doesn't have to do all that, you guys. This was likely a call that really was scheduled, and all that was left to really talk about was payment. So Jax did take the call, but then in post-production, they ADR'd, which means they dubbed voiceover into the episode to give the audience more context and try to make it match up. It wasn't a perfect match, and that's why the person on the phone sounds weird, but I think that was probably just a producer doing ADR for the episode to maintain the privacy of the mental health facility worker who they probably weren't going to go chase down to get signed off to have their voice on the show.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down, was that it sounded fake. It sounded like horrible ADR.
Yeah.
And a check-in process wouldn't be, how depressed are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Okay, great. Do you have $35,000? Perfect. Let's get this going. That's not how that goes.
It's so true. It's so funny. It's just, who cares? They're like, people don't care about this. Let's just get to the juice. How much is he going to pay for it?
We'll just put it in post.
And then how much is he going to throw away because he's not going to stay? Like, that's literally what it was. And then, so we see that call. We see he did FaceTime his sister. Where is she? She needs to step up to the plate here or check out. I'm sure she's benefited from Jax's career.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just now got to the point in the show where his dad just died and he's not talking to his mom and he doesn't really mention his sister. So his family isn't really there for him, really. Or his dad was, but it sounds like he has a tough family life.
Yeah, it sounds like his dad was abusive too, because he talks about how his dad was in the episode. Like
really?
My dad, he talks about like my dad yelled and screamed and threw things sometimes when he got mad. He actually puts a lot of it on his dad. And then in the conversation with the Golden Boys, he says something like, my dad would be rolling over in his grave right now. And then Danny was like, no, Danny and Jason are adamant. They're like, no, he'd be proud of you. Like, you're breaking the cycle. Like, you're doing something about this and you're going to be better for your son. Your dad would be proud of you. So it's just like Jax has this internal monologue, and I don't think it's ever evolved past his like 8-year-old self, because like since I started therapy, I learned what my triggers are and like what gets an emotional reaction out of me and like takes me out of being grounded. And it's really funny once you realize that when you get triggered and have a reaction or an outburst to something, it's very childlike. Like it's very like, why are you crying? It's because when you were a child, to get, you know, your parents' attention, you would cry and then they'd come pick you up out of the crib or whatever. Like it's very primitive like that. So I think it's really interesting to look at Jax stomp his feet when Brittany shows up and say, well, this isn't fair. You do stuff too. You've done cocaine too. And then we get this great line. Where Brittany's like, I could pass a drug test right now, but could you?
Yes. She was like, oh, let's take a drug test right now. I can pass. Could you? You.
It's great. So Jax's intervention, the guys say that, okay, so that the boys talk to Jax. They tell him that, you know, his dad'd be good. And then Brittany shows up with Cruz, which I think is supposed to be like Jax saying goodbye to his son for a minute while he goes away. But then she has the nanny ready, and it quickly turns into a screaming match between the two of them. And
my favorite thing is the B-roll right before she walks in of their little plaque, their decor that says, "This is our happy place." That was so shady of the editors.
I really want to like track down who's editing the show and like see if they'll come talk about. I'm sure they're signed an NDA and they're not going to, but they did such a good job. Even I have notes. The after show editor did a great job. I have some really amazing like juxtaposing scenes that they put right next to each other that I think are just poetic, like so poetic about what's going on between the divorcing couples. But anyway, so Brittany and Jax start having a screaming match, and she's upset and she's begging him to get help to stay in the facility. And most importantly, her concern is that he's not going to be honest with the doctors, that he's going to show up and he's going to try to charm the doctors and tell them, give them the whole Jax dance, you know, and make them fans of him, but not be honest about what he's struggling with. And so she's just trying to really insist that, and it's gets Jax really pissed off because she's asking him to be accountable and he can't do that. So he's going to then scream and question why she isn't accountable. And then she also asks him about the girl that he had over last night, which we have to mention because her titties are humongo.
Huge. Good for her. Wow. Those are, well, I don't know if they're good for her. I feel like they'd hurt my back, but
they're probably not good for her back, but they're great for her wallet. Like, she has to be an OnlyFans girl with some knockers like that. Like, that's the point of the photo we saw of her in that yellow monokini, if you could call it that, is
yeah, it was like Borat's monokini.
Yeah, but canary yellow and jugs. I feel like she needs to be making a lot of money off of that. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, if she's not an OnlyFans model, she should be one. Oh my gosh, when he came in and picked up Cruz and she was like, "Don't kiss him on the face."
Oh yeah.
I didn't even think that like
that's
yeah.
That's why she said that, is because she knows he has people over. But also like Cruz is, now we know he's autistic, and being a nonverbal child at that age, if he doesn't, it's not something you could just come up and smother on. And like a lot of people on TikTok and like in other spaces were vocalizing how uncomfortable Cruz looked when Jax came in the door and how scared he was, cowering. And like, I don't have kids, so I don't know what looks normal or not normal, but I also can tell just like when a human doesn't want to be touched. I think there's obvious cues as an adult to recognize when someone doesn't want to be touched, and I think that Cruz was exhibiting that behavior, but I don't think Jax cared. I think Jax was like, this is my toy to do, you know, he's my son and I get to hug him and do what I want. This
This is all really sad, and the entire time this is all going down, he's wearing a Jax's Studio City hat, and I'm just like, this is not a great advertisement for your bar, buddy. I wouldn't be wearing all my best merch while I'm having this life-altering moment. That's not going well.
The entire season he's wearing the same merch, and it's just I wonder, like, if his partners, they did sell Rocco's. So Rocco's owns Jax's. Rocco's in Studio City has this back patio area that they've let them redesign. They're calling Jax's, and they put the sign out and everything, right? It's owned by Rocco's. Rocco's sold the bars to a new owner before the season came out.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, I know the Studio City Rocco's, it's not bumping over there.
Yeah.
The WeHo one is. The WeHo one could pay the rent. That place is always busy. But the Studio City one isn't. And so I thought that by letting Jax's come in, it would be clever, but they didn't like up the cocktail game or anything. And to be associated with like West Hollywood bars and that, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Get real lime juice, okay?
I think it's authentic to it being Jax's space because he was always the worst bartender at Sir.
You're right. His drinks were sent back all the time. It's so true.
I think it's just what he
But
wanted.
anyway, they sold it right before the show started. So maybe that's because Jax is wearing his merch in every episode.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's genius. And maybe we need Jax merch. No, we can't support Jax. He's a horrible person.
Yeah.
This is my problem. I become so disgusted that I think it's funny if I buy whatever it is. So, for example, Carl from Summer House is fundraising for a sober bar in Brooklyn, aka a coffee shop, and he's calling it. It's called soft. It's so stupid.
Soft?
Like instead of hard liquor, it's soft drinks? I don't know. He's also probably making a play on the whole Lindsay Hubbard. He had a girlfriend or a fiance at one time, and he like yelled at her to be softer. He's like, be softer, like hug me better, softer. And so now he's making it into like a brand, but he doesn't want to pay for his own cafe, so he's crowdsourcing it through merchandise. And I'm so grossed out by all of it that now I want to buy the merch. Like it's gone full circle in my brain of what's funny, and now I think it's hilarious. So I'm probably going to be crucified for saying that I want a Jax hoodie, but I almost want it before it's shut down. Like to one day be like, here I am in my Jax hoodie. So they get into a screaming match, and literally there's a moment where Jax is like looking at the producer and he's screaming at the producer about Brittany. And it made me think, I was like, what are these poor producers putting up with? Like, these people must have,
The fact that people had to then go follow him as he was like, I'm done with this. And then the cameramen have to follow him and watch him fall apart. Watch this marriage fall apart. I'm just like, oh God, this is so uncomfortable.
I know. I don't think I could do it. I couldn't be part of this.
Can you imagine the cameraman going home to his wife and saying, okay, the craziest thing happened at work today. I watched a marriage fall apart. Just being like, what's for dinner?
I wonder if the cameraman has like the healthiest marriage out of anyone on the cast and crew of The Valley, because he is like watching this every day and then going home to his family and maybe appreciates them more.
Probably.
Anyway, that's just some perspective. Jason arrives to save the day, and he's never looked hotter. I am always someone that's willing to admit when I'm wrong, and I will change my mind on a dime. And even though Jason, the corporate attorney for workers' comp, that's right, he's hurting the little man from getting his crappy paycheck after he's mauled by a dog at his restaurant. True story.
Oh, right.
I think he's never looked hotter than coming in his chariot, aka SUV, to drive Jason to a mental health facility. Jason Couchy,
I forgot they're both
aka
named
Jax,
Jason.
to a mental health
That's
facility.
right.
I can't. I was like, oh my god, this is attractive.
Yeah, I know. He's being a good friend and being a good friend to Brittany, and he looks like that while doing it.
He's being a man. And then he even talks a little bit about how he had to come one night when they were fighting and get Brittany a hotel room.
Wow.
I do wish that Jason was man enough, though, to like say to Jax, like, you get the hotel room, Jax.
Yeah.
You go, Jax. Like, I can see the divide in the friends of where they will stand up to Jax, but then where they won't. Mm-hmm. Like you can see that they're kind of scared of him, and I get it.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I would love to see one of them rise to the occasion. Imagine in season 3 if Jesse, who currently has the audience's favor on Watch What Happens
Really?
Live, people were voting in Jesse's favor. Yeah, not Michelle's. A lot of these women are angry at Michelle, which I don't get, but I'm open to hearing perspective. They're very pro Jesse. And so I thought to myself, I'm like, imagine if in season 3, Jesse came in, because he's the only one right now that I think has the nuts to stand up to Jax in any regard. Imagine if it was like Jesse versus Jax on something.
God, that'd
be like the Avengers versus one of those big villains that they go up against in the
Thanos?
Marvel
Yep.
movies.
Yep. God, they really that would be a matchup of true like dipshittery. They're both really bad people.
It'd be like two titans of evil. And it's like who's on the just side and who's on the unjust side.
Who's just
and
a
like,
little bit
where's it gonna go?
Who's just a little bit less worse. Not better, less worse.
Speaking of worse, I think it's time that we go into the new way we're going to break down these episodes, at least for the time being, to see if we like it. And we're going to highlight our favorite moments of the episode, and then moments that shocked us.
Sure. In the beginning, Jason and Janet and Jasmine and Brittany were debriefing about the white party, Brittany's white party that she arrived late to, as we discussed last week. And Jasmine talked about white people eating breakfast casserole. And I wanted to know your thoughts on that. Have you ever had breakfast casserole? Because I didn't know what this was, but it looked good.
This will be a PSA. Thomas, you've cued a public service announcement.
This is a public service. This is just a test.
It's important that the public knows and that Jasmine knows that casserole is not a white person food. It is a Midwest food.
Really?
As a white person from Canada,
You said that.
I've
As a
never
white
had. No one makes casserole. No one gives each other casserole. But all of my Midwestern friends do come to American Thanksgiving with casserole.
Really?
It is a Midwest white person
Okay.
thing. I think it's more like Midwesty style, Bible Belty style. Because all the history of casseroles I heard about is like, did someone die? Did someone get a divorce? You bring them a casserole.
Right. Are they new to the neighborhood? Bring them a casserole.
See, my new to the neighborhood is like pie or cookies. It's not casserole.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a sweet treat. But I get it. So the PSA for Jasmine is this is a Midwest thing, not a white thing.
Okay.
Back to you,
Thank
Thomas.
you in the studio.
This has been a PSA. Janet is very Midwestern, coming from Ohio, and I think that this season she sat down, because she's a smart cookie. She sat down before the season started and was really trying to strategize how to get the audience to be in her favor.
Oh, it worked for me.
And I don't know.
In this next episode, I'll tell you why, but she's gone up in my ranks.
I know it did. She had the best. She had a very authentic birthday party for Janet. We'll talk about that in episode 3. But I think she really strategized like, how she could build her fan base, who she could relate the most to, and she decided to focus on this like Midwestern mindset and like that she relates to the fans and the women that come from these areas because that's where she comes from. And I think it's really smart. And I don't think it's inauthentic either, but I do think she's amplifying it in choices that she makes. Like in episode 2, choosing to have a casserole. Because have you seen Jason's body? Jason is not eating casseroles every day.
I didn't see him eat
I
any
actually
on
don't
the
think
show.
Janet's cooking. I think that they have food brought in.
You know what he's eating? He's eating the ice from her countertop ice machine that I did order from Costco.com.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
It only
much.
took 3 episodes of appearances for you to do it.
Yeah, I bit the bullet.
Good.
chomped
You
the
really
ice.
wanted it. You thought of it this long.
Yeah, and I thought it would be silly and like it's superfluous, but ice is really important to me, and I'm going to be doing a lot of training for this triathlon I'm coming up for. I'm going to make it my whole personality, especially on this show, and I need the ice for that.
I love that.
I'll crunch it into the microphone
You should
next time.
definitely diary and log your training, and we can talk about what it's like to get ready for a triathlon.
Diarrhea log. Oh, diary and log. Yes, I'll probably have some diarrhea too.
So that's what I think of casserole. I think it sucks. I never
It does.
like people's casseroles. They're always like too cheesy or too carby
dry.
or too salty or too dry. I like food. I like good food. So no casseroles for me.
Don't combine it all together and cut me a square of it. Don't do that.
The only square cut I want is pizza or lasagna. Lasagna is probably the only casserole that I'm down with.
But to me, that is structurally different because it's layered. That entices
right.
me.
Do you think lasagna qualifies more as a trifle than it does a casserole?
Sure. Yeah. A meat and cheese and noodle trifle. Or is a trifle a sweet lasagna? No, not that.
No, it's not it.
I said it didn't feel right.
Okay. Wait, my favorite moment, one of my favorite moments, these aren't in specific order, maybe they're just chronological. But one of my favorite moments was Brittany finally unraveling on Jax. She said, "I'll pass a drug test right now, but will you?"
Love that.
That was like a really great scene. I think we saw their relationship on camera for what it exactly was. I think he was so unhinged and angry that he was like seeing red and could not control what he was saying. So we got to see the piece of shit that he is on camera.
And she finally stood up
For realsies.
She stood up against his bullshit in the moment and really well, which like I haven't seen her do that yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could tell she's truly so done with him, which I think is great because everyone, was worried that she'd keep going back to him. There's so much discord too. Like everyone's like, I don't know. I'm so sorry, but like, I think a lot of these people online haven't experienced people that are victims of abuse and haven't had friends like going through stuff. I'm Team Brittany all the way. This guy is diabolical. And the things he's probably said to her over the years to lock her into this relationship, I'm not judging her for asking to have more kids with him. I think in some weird mindset, she thought that like that could make things better for a minute, or at least it would give her something else to focus on. Like, and the more she could focus off of Jackson on the kids, like, because she wants more than one, the better. And then ironically, he's reacting because I think he's jealous that she just gives the kid all the attention and doesn't do shit for him anymore. Like, he's like, why don't you care about me? Why don't you check in on me? It's because you're abusive, bro. You flipped a table and you, like, blacked out her knee and you threw bar stools across the room.
Yeah.
You know how big my bar stools are? Hold on, let me show you my bar stool.
Oh, wow.
If Jax Taylor muscled this bar stool
That's
and threw it across the room...
That's an amazing bar stool. Where'd you get that?
Thank you. I got it at Marshall's on Christmas Eve. I feel like it's the only day you can get anything good at Marshall's.
It's kind of gorgeous.
But you know what I'm saying? He threw these across the room.
That's wild. And I can't imagine the last time he checked in on Brittany to make sure she was feeling well. Probably never.
Probably never asked one time.
And I'm in Vanderpump where they just got engaged and everyone is asking, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And she just keeps saying, This is my relationship and I am choosing to marry him. This is the guy I'm going to marry. Okay, so just get with it. Okay, I know that it was hard in the past, but we're going to be together. And now it's like sad that I've seen the fallout of it.
It's kind of amazing that you're watching both at the same time.
The bookends. I mean, they did start the relationship earlier, but, the bookends of their marriage, I should say, that I'm watching the engagement and their sort of reconciliation after his dad died. And then, however many years later, Crumbelina.
Like 9, I don't know how many years, 9 years later. Yeah. So I put that in my favorite moments. I know it's dark, but I do think it's going to save lives. I do think it's really cool that I think women are so cutting edge and ahead of their time when it comes to talking about stuff like this and like evolving emotionally. And I think that this is another example of how we're going to evolve. We've learned and seen so many things on reality TV that's like started discussion for us. That I think seeing this behavior and this toxicity on TV is going to help a ton of people. It's literally like, I know people go through divorces, right? And I wrote this about Michelle and Jesse later on, but like I've never seen people go through a real divorce. And I've seen on Wedding Crashers them mediating a divorce. I was like, what's the closest thing to like a real divorce I've seen? And it's like depictions in Hollywood. It's not like a real dark thing. And to get a divorce from a narcissist that has cocaine addiction and is like totally abusive, like Jax, I think is like incredible television. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a real documentary.
My friend is going through a divorce right now, and I also haven't really experienced it, so I'm just trying to be there for her however I can, but I don't really know what to do other than be there to hang out and be an ear, and it's weird. It's a weird thing to go through. Not me personally, but I mean like in a relationship
as a friend.
Yeah, and be an observer and to watch it end. I mean, I met her pretty early on. I don't know her husband that well now, separated. So it's a little bit easier for me, but it's weird.
It's weird. And I know that there's like so many different reasons people get a divorce, like that they're not all screaming matches and flipping furniture. So this is a very extreme case, but I'll say it again. I think that because the crew is there, because Brittany had producers to call when it got too far for her, and they stepped in and helped, and they called like Jax's sister and she stepped in and helped, and like because she had those people to go to, I really do think that filming this show has saved her life, and it gave her a space and a channel and income to have the courage to do it. So like all these people are like, why didn't you move home to your family in Kentucky if it was so bad? Why are you still trying to be on the show? It's like little-minded humans.
She's built a life in LA.
Little-minded humans.
Yeah, she's built a life and career in LA. That's where she makes money, so she can't just pack it all up.
I know, and they're trying to say that she's like a fame whore and that she deserves part of this because of like that she has this career. I'm like, she came from Hooters.
I'm so
like this is way better than working in restaurants as a server. Like Jax also was a server. Like these people are sure they're taking a job and it comes with fame, but at the same time it's like no one deserves abuse and having this stuff around your children.
I'm pretty convinced that like if any person on the street, any of us went on a reality show and had our lives displayed for a decade, we'd probably all become
Kristen.
Yeah, or just like it's like
if we're lucky.
we would be unwell and either like a fame whore or emotionally unstable or narcissistic or you just don't live your life normally after that.
Yeah, it's tough. It's literally like a 10-year documentary.
Yeah.
And I think it's fascinating, and I love it. So that's why that's a favorite moment for mine. And I know it needed lots of asterisks, but major.
I've been watching this show so much, Vanderpump so much, that these people are not real people to me. This is a 12-year-long soap opera, and they're just characters. And I keep forgetting that they're real people with lives, and they're not characters.
Yeah. No, you're right. They are, I mean, in a sense, they are characters, because when they step in front of the camera, they are choosing they stand behind what they're doing. Like, Brittany's out there doing happy promo about this season, and it's kind of dark. Like, she's on Watch What Happens Live, and she's talking about, she's just spilling the fucking beans. She doesn't care. She's like, what do you want to know, Andy? She's basically like, what do you want to know? She said something like, something we all knew, that Jax, and this is coming up later, but like, Jax and Brittany bail like the day of travel to Stassi's wedding in Italy, after they RSVP that they're coming. And it's this whole thing. And they find out that he never got the passports. And people are like, oh. So Brittany's like, yeah, we didn't go. Someone asks, like, has you talked to Stassi since, everything that happened? She's like, no, I haven't, but we've seen each other and we've been cordial and sweet, like, at events. Like, we're in the same group and it's all good, but we're not, like, friends. And then Andy's like, is the reason you guys didn't go to Stassi's wedding start with a letter J and end with an X? And she's like, yes, there's plenty more to say on that. And I was like, ooh. So everyone's like running amok going like, is it because he couldn't get cocaine in Italy? Is it because, like what's the reason that Jax didn't want to go to Stassi and Beau's Italian wedding? Is it because it would be better than his wedding?
She does marry Beau? I just met Beau and I love him. Your face says you just
felt it. Yeah, she marries Beau.
Good.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I feel like I saw something maybe on her Instagram. Yeah.
Well, on Vanderpump Villa season 2.
Is that where they get married?
I love Vanderpump
Villa.
Okay, so what's another favorite moment you had?
My other favorite moment is where we got to hear the voice of one Sheena Shea on the phone, because Michelle didn't let it slip. She very vehemently told Jesse, well,
poignantly said,
well, your girl that you're fucking is fucking someone else. How about that? And then he says, oh, yeah?
This is also a favorite moment of mine. And I was like, Michelle and Jesse are fighting about the days with their daughter. Like, she comes in the house, her old house, and Jesse's like, I've updated the schedule again because you have a problem with travel. And she's like, well, I haven't traveled, but you've gone on 4 trips in the last month. And it's like, he's just so patronizing. And he's just looking to get her rattled up. And it's like, and they're both, what I love about it is how brave, and I'm going to say this, I love how brave Michelle and Jesse are being. It's like they are both A-types. As much as Michelle seems passive and like shell-shocked right now, I think like her marriage with Jesse has like blown her back a few steps. I think they are both A-types, and they're both like very driven and ambitious people. And I do think that there is a like choice that when they come into these scenes with each other, that they are both going to give it 120% because they both want this to be like their career now.
Yeah.
And so they both agree to do these crazy scenes and they have these crazy discussions, and it's literally they're triggering each other. Jesse starts crying because he wants the kid on a holiday, even though they've agreed that it's Michelle's year for the holidays. He starts crying and she starts going,
you love to cry.
You're just crying because you want people to feel bad for you. You're just crying because, and he's like, no, I'm not. Like literally crocodile tearing. And then she goes, well, let's talk about something, how embarrassing your girlfriend is because she's sleeping with other people. And he literally just like changes gears. Jesse, I don't think any of his emotion half the time is real because he literally shifts gears. He's no longer upset. And he calmly goes, where's it? Who's this friend? I'll call them right now. And she goes, Sheena. And then he goes, and then she's like, and he's like, okay, well, let's call her. And then in a confessional, he's like, I don't really know Sheena. We just helped her buy her house in the Valley, which is so Sheena. Sheena's so smart. She's like, I want to be on the Valley. Is there a realtor on the cast? Jesse and Michelle? Yeah, I'm going to hire them to help me buy my house in the Valley.
Yeah. My favorite.
She was just, Sheena.
Yeah.
Claws her
My
in.
favorite part was when she said, yeah, some guy from Baywatch. And my first thought was, what are we talking about? The original show? The movie? Is she talking about Zac Efron? Is she talking about Baywatch Hawaii? Is she talking about Jason Momoa? Who is it?
Well, I know who it
You
is.
do?
Yes.
Who is it?
This is why I don't want to tell you to get TikTok because it'll take over
I
your
can't.
life. And
I can't
that's
do
like,
it.
I can just tell you what's on TikTok. But I posted a TikTok the moment I saw this episode, and I said, who's the guy from Baywatch? Which, literally verbatim same question. Which one are we talking about? Are we talking about the movie, the show? And then I had someone follow up and tell me who it was. It's David Charvet.
I thought you were going to say David Hasselhoff.
And here, I'll send you a screenshot right now.
I thought you were going to say David Hasselhoff.
No, it's not. Hoff, Efron, no, those guys don't
Momoa?
live in Orange County.
Oh.
But this guy does. He's in his 50s and he's recently divorced. So it's actually a perfect storm. And he looks so hot for his age. That's him when he was on Baywatch, the show.
Okay, yeah.
But now he's just like jacked in his 50s.
Sure. Well, that's tough. That's tough to hear for.
So if you don't follow me on TikTok and you want to be involved in these discussions right off the bat, my TikTok and Instagram username is filmmakeher, or you can just look up Lindsay St. Laurent. But yeah, I broke that like within 20. I love the internet. Within 24 hours, we knew who it was.
And my favorite quote that he says, which just tells you everything in his mindset of what he thinks it means to be a good father and husband. He says, "I didn't cheat on her. I didn't lie to her. Yeah, maybe I was a shitty husband, but I didn't hurt her. So why is she actively trying to hurt me?" I think being a shitty husband would probably have hurt her, Jesse. God, these men are idiots.
He just doesn't. These guys have they actually don't care at all about their partners, and they're just like, they just don't give a shit.
Yeah. And their dog's name is Malibu, which is really upsetting to me. That's not a good dog name. What happened to Luke's dog, Jill? How's Jill doing?
I was high the second time I watched this episode, and I came up with a conspiracy theory.
Oh, okay. Please.
So my conspiracy theory is that Michelle and Jesse, because they're such hard workers and they're so ambitious, and they're like, that neither of them have really worked in real estate for like the last year. Like there's no announcements of them selling homes or anything like that. Okay? I believe that they have come to an agreement to like respectfully disrespect each other at all costs to keep the cameras on them.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, I firmly believe that they actually both, like after 2 weeks, didn't give a shit about being with each other at all, and they're quite happy. But they're like extending and choosing to trigger each other because, like, let's be real. Why does Jesse go and invite Michelle and her new boyfriend to this upcoming trip? Like, why do they keep showing up for these scenes and they're not talking through their attorneys? Why?
Yeah, why aren't
it's like they're both pursuing.
They're both
TV. Pursuing the cash pot of being a professional reality star professionally, and they're happy to use each other for it. Yeah. And I kind of think that they're fine. They actually don't hate each other that much. They kind of love it.
Yeah, no, I buy that. I think that'd be sick.
And that's the end of my conspiracy theory.
I think it'd be kind of sick if that was real, but I would believe it.
I think that they're sick enough to do it. Like, I feel like they're such business people. They're like, let's call a spade, and let's just make this some good TV.
Yeah. Let's make all the money that I lost. That was me being Jesse.
That was you being Jesse.
Let's make back all the money.
Okay, what's another favorite moment you had?
My last favorite moment was Zach's FaceTime with Benji, his boyfriend, who I forgot is still married, and like they're FaceTiming because he has all these green card issues and stuff like that, or with his citizenship, and I don't know. I'm kind of leaning back again towards his hair being fake, because even if it's not fake, his hair is 2 different colors. The top is much darker than the sides, and I just don't get it. And I wasn't enjoying the haircut. So that's all I really took away from that scene. I'm happy for him. But it kind of ties in with my second shocking moment. I don't know if you want me to say that too, but I'm really over the gays saying we met on a dating app with air quotes. Like, come on, just say you met on Grindr. Who cares? Just say you went to get your rocks off and you were like, oh wait, this person who got my rocks off is kind of interesting and cool. I don't like the shame surrounding Grindr. Am I on it? No. But that's because I don't like myself right now. But the second I drop a little bit of weight, I'm going to be swallowing the neighborhood, okay?
You're going to swallow the neighborhood?
Well, not really, but I got my tonsils out. So that'll be my like opening line. It's like, hey, there's a lot more room back there.
Do you still have a gag reflex?
I don't know. I haven't tried it out. When I brush my teeth now.
Let's try it right now. Stick your hand in your mouth as far as you can go. Let's see what happens.
I have a spoon right here.
Okay, perfect.
Wait, are we actually doing this? Okay, wait, hang on.
Yes.
That spoon's old.
I just want to see, we're just got to test it, because if you're planning to swallow the neighborhood because you are tonsil free, but you still have a gag reflex, then you have some work to do in the meantime.
I do have a bunch of popsicles. I could for my leftover from tonsil time, maybe I should practice on them.
Let's see the spoon thing. Give it a shot.
Okay, well, this spoon it's like hardened. So let me get a different spoon.
Ew.
I think I left it out from lunch.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. I was going to say how about a knife, but that feels like sword swallower.
That's dangerous.
Okay. I cannot believe I'm doing this for you.
I can. We got to figure out where you're working towards something here.
Okay. Well, okay, trigger warning for those who have a weak gag reflex. Maybe skip ahead 15 seconds. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. I went back pretty far.
Okay, can you touch the back of your throat?
I did.
Touch the hangy ball at the back.
Yep, there it is.
Okay,
wow.
So now we know your limitations.
Oh my God, I haven't tested this since my surgery. Thank you. Oh my God. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I have so much more room back there.
See, I can't.
And look at the head of this spoon.
I can't do it.
I mean, my eyes are watering a little bit, but
I still want to gag afterwards.
When I would brush my teeth, I would gag on my toothbrush, and now I don't.
That's beautiful. See, oh my God, you're ready.
So anyway, gays or gays and theys, just don't worry about using Grindr. Okay, if you meet someone on Grindr, don't be ashamed.
Yeah, if you're proud enough to go meet them, you're proud enough to just say the name of the app.
That you're dating.
Maybe he didn't, but you know what? Maybe he didn't want to promote the app for free on the show.
Oh, okay. That's fair. But I know it was Grindr because that's the one that we're all ashamed of because we all feel gross and dirty when we don't even say hi or like learn the name and then you do some things and then you go home.
Yeah, and also because I think that they later talk about how he showed up to Luke and Kristen's with him like 2 hours after they met for the first time, and
oh my God,
and he brought him over and introduced him as his friend.
That was my shocking moment. That was like, damn, you knew him for 2 hours, and you just lied and said you knew him for 3 weeks. That's kind of shady. You really don't know that person. That's amazing. It's
just funny that he wouldn't just like be honest about it.
Yeah, just be like,
yeah, we just met.
We just blurted all over each other, and now I brought him into your home.
Okay, great. Well, I'll finish my favorite moment, and then I'll go into my shocking moment since you already treaded into the territory. But my favorite moment was when Zach came over, and Zach brought Brittany flowers and takeout and was like being there for her and like let Cruz come up and say hi to him, and then they went and put their feet in the pool even though he just got a spray tan.
Oh right, that was very big of him to do that. Yeah.
It was really big of him. Like, he's a great friend, even though him and Brittany haven't been the closest since last year with the whole Janet and the demonic behavior of it all, saying that allegedly saying he wanted her to lose her baby, according to Janet. I like loved that when Brittany was still having like a real life human moment. Zach didn't hesitate and he was there and they could talk about their issues with each other.
I think that was when actually that he talked about the grinder thing. But yeah, that was really nice. He's a good friend. I forget that they were both from that small town in Kentucky, so they have a lot of history.
Yeah, he moved like 4 months after her or 4 weeks after her or something to LA.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, so now we'll move into our moments that shocked us. What?
I've already
ahead.
covered all my shocking moments. My first one was him saying that he likes women that look like Brittany. The second one was the grinder thing, and the third one was just the entire intervention breakdown ending.
Yeah, that was shocking. Yeah. The whole intervention was shocking. I went a little bit more specific.
Please.
And my first one is that Michelle and Jesse's kid said, "I love you" to Michelle's new boyfriend on the phone.
Wait, I missed that. Really?
She was in the backseat of the car and Michelle, like there was a confessional with Jesse saying something and then the editors were really shady and they cut to Michelle talking to someone on the phone. It was like, we thought it was Jesse. And then she said, I love you on the phone. And then we find out it's Aaron.
Wow.
I thought that was kind of shocking because
wow. So do you think
she's
a bitch? Just kidding. The little girl. I'm just joking.
The little girl? No, but it just shows that this guy is involved in her life and they're not even divorced yet.
It's giving stepdad. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a little fast for me. And the second one, I am flagging as the demonic behavior of the episode.
Zach's demonic behavior. Zach's demonic behavior. Demonic. Zach's demonic behavior.
Okay, demonic behavior. I am now creating a segment where every episode of The Valley, I'm going to highlight Janet's demonic behavior. It's not necessarily Janet, but it's what Janet would call demonic behavior. And in my shocking moment that I'm flagging as the demonic behavior of episode 2, season 2 of The Valley, it was hearing that Jax puts down Brittany's appearance so much that all of their friends have witnessed it and have been a part or present when he's talking about her body or telling her to be a good mom. And we get much more into it in the after show, but the fact that they're talking about what Jax says to Brittany about her body is disgusting. And in my opinion, true demonic behavior.
Of the devil.
And then my third most shocking moment that I want to address, which is very shocking, is that Zach's floors are so dirty that Benji wears shower shoes in the house like he's in a prison shower.
That's pretty bad.
And Zach also has a roommate.
Oof.
So now I have lots of questions.
Yeah.
I want to meet Zach's roommate because he's probably really crazy.
Yeah, and how are they going to cohabitate the three of them? He must be moving out to get a new place. I don't know.
Do you want to talk about the after show?
Please.
All right. So on the Valley 2 episode 2 after show, we got a lot more juice. These after shows are turning out to be almost more controversial and juicy than the actual show.
And it's a great little update of here's where that situation is now. Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, but yet still before the reunion.
Correct.
So it's just going to be a big old mess. So first we start with Thonggate, and we talk about this thong with a baby wipe.
Vile, yeah.
Vile. Thomas, what do you think? Where did the thong come from?
I don't know. The baby wipe is what I think is more diabolical because it means someone either tried to pick it up and left it there. The woman gave herself a coochie wipe, which respect. Or no, that's all I can think of. It's pretty gross. I think it came.
Can I tell you what I think this is?
Please. I do think Jax left it there on purpose.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't believe that any woman in her right mind is leaving a coochie wipe out on the counter.
Yeah.
I do believe that there are people out there looking to get ripples of attention from these people. So there is a world where this person left it there so that the wife or Brittany, who they know Jax's wife.
Yeah.
If they're sleeping with Jax, they know his wife. If they're leaving it there so that she knows that they were there, like there's a world where women are like, I'm leaving a fingernail, I'm leaving a hair tie, I'm leaving
Yes.
a bobby pin, so that they a lip gloss in a drawer,
A thong with
so
a
that
baby
they know
wipe.
someone was there. Mm-hmm. But my gut tells me that Jax set this whole thing up because he thought it would be great for TV.
Especially
and he
'cause
was
it's
trying
on
to
a
provoke
counter.
her. And his stupid ego, like he wanted to look like he's getting chicks and he wanted it shown on the show. But he also wanted to get a reaction out of Brittany because he thinks he's a producer. Oh, okay. One thing I have to point out. I pointed this out on my TikToks. If you follow me on TikTok, you already saw it. But there's a moment where Jax is what I'm calling confessing light, Lite. He's confessing light to saying horrible things about Brittany and her appearance. And he's saying, like, everyone says bad things. Everyone gets in fights with their partners. It goes two ways. Two people are fighting. And yeah, sometimes you say things you don't mean, or sometimes you say bad things to each other. Basically, that's his response to, like, you're calling your wife fat. You're criticizing her stretch marks and stuff after she had your child. You're crazy. And Schwartz, one of the Vanderpump cast members that has seeped their way into the after show along with Brock, Sheena, and Lala, is completely disassociating. So he is looking off camera and he's not moving. He's like frozen. I don't know if he's frozen because he doesn't want Jax Taylor to see him there and doesn't want him to pull him into the conversation, or if he's just trying not to move a muscle so that there's nothing to give the camera, so the camera doesn't cut to him, but they still do. And he's just sitting there silent. And I'm like, how can this guy, Schwartz deserves to be blamed as much as Sandoval and Jax for half of the shit, because he's just such an accomplice. He's there for all of it. And if you are trying to tell me that Schwartz wasn't sitting in the room when Jax has criticized Brittany's body in front of, like, I just don't believe it.
And didn't say anything. No.
And of course he did. He did exactly what he did in that moment.
Yeah.
He just looks off like, oh, I'm not paying attention. I'm just as Watch What Crappens, this podcast that everybody listens to.
Watch What Crappens,
would
love
say
that.
like, oh, I'm a sweet boy. I don't say anything bad. I'm just a boy. I'm just a little boy. Like they do this whole thing where Schwartz is just a boy. So
I will say
Shep does the same thing in Southern Charm, but
when Jax is, giving his bullshit in his confessing light, he drops a really, really beautiful phrase, which brings us to our segment, Bravo Wisdom.
Bravo wisdom. Great.
And what Jax says is, sometimes information gets lost in communication, and he says, sometimes I think things can be misconstrued. Misconstrued.
Misconstrued.
Yeah, I think that's Strut, Struted, misconstrued. The word is misconstrued, but he might not know that. And then this is, I think,
Now
also,
he does.
Now he does, and this is also when Lala says, "The narcissist does wonders when he's on display." Which that was actually kind of a piece of wisdom.
That's a good piece of Bravo wisdom.
Yeah. And then we take a journey back in time as I as I watch Vanderpump for the first time, I can drop some other Bravo wisdom for you. In season 1, episode 3, Tom Sandoval says, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know, like radiation." In season 4, episode 16, Kristen says, "Through therapy, I've learned to not be so confrontational, but getting in Ariana's face right now is going to be really therapeutic."
That should be on a t-shirt.
Yeah, right? And finally, something I think that we should adopt in our everyday lives. Season 5, episode 20, when they're in, I believe
It sounds like the Bible.
It really does.
Season 5, episode verse 20.
Season 5, verse 20, I think they're in Hawaii, maybe, or Mexico. She says, "This water is dinging my diamond." Oh, you know what? They're in Lake Tahoe. They're tubing. So I want to use that in my everyday phrase, like, "Ugh, this water is dinging my diamond." This meeting that we're having, it's dinging my diamond.
It's dinging my diamond.
Yeah, I just want us to bring that into our everyday vernacular.
And that is Bravo wisdom, wisdom, wisdom.
Wisdom, wisdom.
Bravo wisdom. There was one moment in the after show where I agreed with Janet, and I think it's the first time I've agreed with Janet.
When was that?
Janet says he still doesn't have the panic of rock bottom, and I couldn't agree more. Jax definitely hasn't hit rock bottom.
That is great. It's crazy that he hasn't, because
How could he? He's got the house.
he's still in denial.
He's got tons of women coming in and validating him. And like sleeping with him.
He just opened a bar. He just opened a business. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely not hit rock bottom. He doesn't care about his kid or his wife. Like this whole "I'm doing it for Cruz" thing is such bullshit.
Right.
Because you know what I noticed? There's no B-roll they're cutting to of him ever playing with his kid. Every single time we cut to Brittany, she's playing dinosaurs. She's swimming with the kid. Like all of her B-roll is with Cruz, and there's no B-roll of Jax with Cruz ever.
In episode 3, I think, when they have food and they're talking, and Cruz just like keeps climbing up onto her. He just wants to be with her, and then she starts getting emotional about it.
It's really sweet.
I noticed something really important in this episode of the after show.
What?
And now, I don't know how I noticed it, because I've only watched this episode once, but I caught it. Do you remember this storyline of Jason, that I'm sure it's coming, Jason not wearing his wedding ring when he's out and about?
Yeah, it was on the preview for the season.
So, I think his hand was on his leg, and they were crossed. And I saw that underneath his wedding ring, he has a ring tattoo now. So he can never take off his wedding ring. Isn't that crazy?
In the after show he does?
In the after show, you have to go back and look for it.
You are so observant. I'm going to go and find video footage and put it on this TikTok right now.
You have to. Yeah. Cut this clip it, honey.
Amazing.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, can't take that one off." I bet that was a deal breaker.
I think it's really important that we talk about if Benji has a job.
Oh, wait, does
Benji have a job? How is he
is
coming out for a month and going back to Canada and coming back again? How is he doing any of that? Does he have a job?
A lot of people work remote now.
That's true.
Yeah. But I don't know. Do any of these people have a job? That's what I'm thinking about in Vanderpump Season 7. They have all these little businesses. Oh my gosh. In the episode I just watched, Kristen is relaunching James May. And I thought, wait a second. In the Valley, she just relaunched James May. Is this a relaunch of James May? And the answer is yes.
James May never leaves. It just goes away temporarily.
Okay.
And there's nothing worse. There's nothing better than a rebrand.
And I think Jax and Brittany, after they got engaged, have decided they're going to make Mama's beer cheese, which I don't think has seen the light of day either.
Listen, if you're going to be a Bravo celebrity and you're not already filthy rich, then you need to be capitalizing on this space and have some kind of a product or business going. Because, like, this thing doesn't last forever, you know? And you want to be engaging with your audience and you want them to be able to support you. I think after Katie Maloney and Ariana, like, brought in, like, over $120,000 in t-shirt sales during Scandival, that helped fund their sandwich shop opening.
Oh my God.
I think that, like, you would be an idiot to not try to get something off the ground. Now, where it gets hilarious is the things that these people choose. What do they choose to put on as their thing? Like, is it authentic to their brand? Is it stupid and junky? Is it like Walter Goggins of the White Lotus coming out with, like, sunglasses? Like, what the hell is that? Like, these weird 90s sunglasses? Or he calls Goggins goggles. I'm like, I don't. Sorry if anyone listening is a huge Walter Goggins fan, because I know half of these women probably are. My friends are. I just think it's, like, tacky. Something else I want to talk about, though. Jessie says that Michelle moved in with her boyfriend and didn't tell him till afterwards. And I wanted to ask you, Thomas, if you were divorced or divorcing Jessie Lawley, would you tell him that you were moving in with your new partner?
Probably not. I would say I would tell him after the fact so that he couldn't try to change my mind or try to make it stop from happening. It's just,
of course. Like, why? He's complaining about it, and it does seem a little off, but, like, honestly, I wouldn't tell him anything about my life. Like,
no.
He's looking for any way to hurt Michelle possible. She can't tell him her living situation, but also they have a kid, so it's like this weird footing of what do you do?
Yeah.
I think you have to tell him, right? Because he's the father? I don't know.
I guess, because you have to know where to pick her up, yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. And then finally, before we finish this little debrief of the after show, Sheena is labeled the Gossip Queen. And what a title. I want that title.
And if any of these side hustles don't work out, they could just sell their free PR that they get on eBay, like Jax does.
Ready to talk about episode 3?
I sure am.
All right.
Let's
everyone's shocked and doesn't believe that Jax went somewhere for help. I'm not going to call it a rehab facility because it wasn't. It was a mental health facility, the first one he went to. And but it kind of tells you what everyone thinks about him. Like the fact that Zach is like, I want to see it to believe it, that Jasmine's shocked. They're all shocked.
Yeah.
And
not assuming he's going to stay.
It puts things in perspective about how the group sees him and what they think about him.
Yeah.
Jumping into my first favorite moment of the episode. I touched on it in the last one a little bit, but Jason has never been hotter than driving Jax to therapy.
Yeah.
And it was great to see the girls show up and rally around Brittany and comfort her and feed her.
Yeah, it was really nice. And their food looked really good.
Yeah, they've been getting good takeout. They've been bringing Brittany some good takeout.
Yeah. Fuck a casserole, bring me takeout.
Being like, she was recently on her podcast and she was like, why can't I be the type of single girl that loses all the weight? and then she's talking to, like, Michelle, and Michelle's like, you're either one or the other. You either eat your feelings or you starve them. And she's like, well, I can't starve them.
Was that
So
was that British person Michelle?
it was like a robot.
Oh,
I was doing
sure,
like kind of a robot-y voice, like a devoid, empty shell person.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I'll work on the impression.
No, it was good. I liked Brittany's though. Yeah, this is better than a casserole, so I'm down.
Better than a casserole.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's nice to see that they're all coming together, but Jason's arms did pop a little bit more when he got back to the house after dropping him off at therapy.
Oh, yeah. It's good. It's good stuff.
And I think his arms look better than Jesse's in this episode.
Really?
Did you notice?
No, I'm going to have to go back.
You need to go back. I don't know if it's because he's wearing an olive green shirt and that's more of his season. So like he's wearing like a really well fitted shirt. He looks good. Like he definitely put thought into the look for the scenes today, and it shows. And something to note in this moment too is Michelle tells Brittany to file tomorrow and don't look back.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was really good advice, and Brittany should have done that. She should have filed it. Honestly, not just filed for divorce, but file the
restraining
order.
Yeah.
Restraining order against him.
And full custody.
Because I am worried. I am worried about where it's going to go, and I am worried about the off season, and I am worried because he clearly isn't dealing with like his anger issues or anything. He just thinks it's all cocaine addiction. So I'm worried. I am still worried about her safety.
When they were talking about how people have said that Luke looks like Vincent van Gogh, and he totally does.
I think he looks like in the new promo that we just saw, because there's new opening titles that started on episode 2. I think he looks like he came off of the show Farmer Wants a Wife.
Farmer Wants a Wife, the gay one?
No.
Did you see the gay one? Oh wait, it's not Farmer Wants a Wife.
No.
It's like there's a Canadian one where one of them's gay. Yeah. Well, there's 3 of them.
I haven't seen that one, but I do think he looks like an Amish person or
Van Gogh.
a Farmer Wants a Wife with this weird rounded beard thing he has in the opening credits.
Yeah. Listen. If I was gonna get married to Kristen, I'd cut off my ear too. Am I right, ladies?
I wouldn't. The juice that Kristen's bringing home. I mean. Okay, another thing I really liked from the episode is that Jesse has a tea party with tons of croissants, and I love croissants.
You do.
And Kristen offers to help him plan their trip to Santee B, aka Santa Barbara. And Kristen is way too happy to help, and she knows what she's doing. And this leads me into I think
was that the
it's
one
time
where
that I form.
Oh, sorry.
What?
Was that the part where he talked about like all the problems he had with Aaron and Michelle, and says they're pieces of shit, and then goes, so anyway, we're planning a trip to Santa Barbara, and they are invited. Was that part? Yeah, crazy.
Same meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
And I love it that he's inviting them both, and I just think that alpha male Jesse is just looking for any moment to have a physical fight with this guy.
Oh yeah.
Like I think Jesse is inviting him because if he comes, he wants to physically fight him.
In a house that he rented, yes.
And this now leads me into something a teachable moment for anyone out there who wants to be in reality TV. Welcome to class, boys and girls. Today, I'm going to teach you the 3 rules of being a reality star. And if you follow these rules, you are sure to succeed in your endeavor of being a great reality star. Okay?
Okay, great.
That's great.
That was me being a boys and girls.
First rule is to say how you feel and don't think about it. Just say it.
Oh, yeah, definitely don't think.
Don't think about it. Just say it. Reactivity is key.
Mm-hmm.
In good and bad ways.
Yeah,
2,
be defensive.
You're right. 2, if you are not at the pinnacle of the drama, you must pick a side. And you need to be firm and clear about what side you are on. And a great example is Kristen going to Jesse's tea party and even offering to help plan the weekend away trip with him because she said she's, quote, great at it. So
and is Team Jesse. Yeah.
There's no clear way to pick a side, and we see it later in the episode because it gets passed through the grapevine that Kristen's helping Jesse plan the weekend. which tells she's drawing a line in the sand, which is great. Especially because last season, I feel like Kristen felt really outcasted, like she only had Luke. So it's nice that she can team up with someone as despicable as Jesse, and create this rivalry with Michelle. And 3, the third rule of being a great reality star is forgive easily, but never forget. Yeah. And there is a little bit more nuance to this rule. It is a little bit more for a experienced reality star, but you want to be able to forgive your castmates, and you want to go into scenes with them, and you want to show that you're trying to grow and improve, but you can recall some of that past history if you want in a future season,
Preferably when emotions are high, bring up what they did to you years ago against them.
And you will see the masters do this. You'll see a Kyle Richards do this. You'll see a Lisa Vanderpump do this. You'll see a Stassi do this. And I think Kristen is going to easily adapt into doing this later in the season or next season. So these are the 3 rules of being a great reality star. And if you listen to me, a reality TV master, you too can be successful. It's genius of Kristen to do this, and she knows exactly what she's doing, and her smile ear to ear is telling us everything we need to know. And then my final favorite thing from the episode that I really liked is that Luke tells Danny he's planning a proposal.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the first person that he's told that he's planning a proposal.
That was sweet. Okay, so before, Luke and Danny were talking, and Danny tells Luke about this 20-person boys group chat, which to me sounds like an absolute nightmare. A group chat of 20 people alone sounds like a nightmare, but 20 men? Anyway, so Danny tells Luke that Jesse posted on there that Michelle is sleeping with a billionaire for $1,500 a night. Which
yes,
I think she could be getting a lot more.
This was on my shocking moments.
Yes. I think so my favorite moment was when Luke tells this information to Kristen and Brittany and Zach, and Brittany says the line, "I swear, Jesse." That's my favorite part.
I swear, Jesse.
I swear, Jesse. Hello?
Hi, Thomas. It's Luke.
Oh, wait. Hello, this is Thomas?
Hi, Thomas. This is Luke.
Oh, hi, Luke.
I was just calling because I wanted to tell you that I hate games of telephone, but it's really important that I share something with Brittany and Michelle and Kristen. Who did he tell? Who was there at BJ's? Or
Kristen, Brittany, and Zach.
Great. It's really important that I tell you guys. I hate telephone. Did I say that?
You did.
But I think it's really important that I tell you guys that I heard from Danny that he read in a group chat of 20 men that that's primary rule is the same as Fight Club, that that Michelle is sleeping with a billionaire for $1,500 a night.
What?
So I just wanted to tell you, I do hate telephone, but it was really important for me to tell you guys that Danny told me that he read in a group chat of 20 guys that Jesse said this.
Okay, but you do hate telephone?
That's right. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Oh my God. Yeah. Luke, what do you mean you hate telephone?
Why did you do that? Yeah.
What do you mean you hate games of telephone? You just played telephone.
I swear. And also
so that transitions me to one of my shocking moments.
Oh, yeah.
One of my shocking moments is that I think Danny knows what he's doing. I think Danny going to Luke and saying this on camera is intentional because they identify that Luke and Jason both have Android phones, so they're not in the group chat.
Is it time for another PSA?
What's your PSA? Do you have a PSA about Android phones? I have a PSA, but it's different. Should we have a? Do you want to have a PSA?
I just want to say to all the
PSA. Hey. This will be a PSA.
Do I hate it when a group chat turns green because of one Android user? Yeah. But I'm not going to like shun that person out of my life, and I'm not going to shame them for having an Android. Do I sometimes think that some Android users have a superiority complex for still holding out against Apple? Yes. Do I think that it's a coincidence that Jason is one of these people? No, I do not. So, just wanted to put that out there. If you have an Android, good for you, but don't make it your prime thing that you lead with.
It's a personality trait for them. Have you noticed? Have you noticed?
Yes. Yes.
And I'm of the standpoint that if you have one, you're not in the group chat. It's annoying, and it doesn't work the way it should work if you're in there. So you're not in there.
Oh yeah.
But
when,
don't worry, I'll
pop
include
up,
you and tell you after. But you're gonna miss a lot of the good stuff.
Yeah, when the words pop up, so and so liked that message. Ugh.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Pretty bad.
So it makes sense that they're not included. Do I think that they could easily get an iPhone, and do I think they have iPads at home so they could easily be in the chat? Yes. Do I think that both Jason and Luke are the same type of person that doesn't want to be involved in this group chat? Yes.
Yeah,
especially because Jesse is like, we have a rule in this text group, and it's you don't talk about the text group. So like Jax and Jesse are like the sheriffs or wardens of the text group, and when they invite someone in, they tell them the rule, and Danny is breaking the rule.
And Jason was just not interested. I don't think he's going home to a Microsoft Surface. No, he has an Apple laptop.
I think there's just so much going on in that text group from those people, because like that Julian guy's in there. Like, look at these people that are in the group so far.
Right. Yeah.
They're trash.
Yeah.
It's trashy shit.
Trashy boys. Garbage boys.
It makes sense that they're not in it, and it makes sense that Danny was a recent addition. Like, probably when they started the show, they added him onto it. But Danny's not the type of guy that probably cares about that group either, hence why he's so shocked when he sees something like Jesse saying that Michelle is getting $1,500 a night from a billionaire to sleep with him, which is just insane. That's like, I feel like that's really low.
Not enough money, yeah, for a billionaire. Yeah.
Whatever. It's just dumb. Another shock. Oh, wait. My PSA. I have a PSA too. This will be a PSA. My PSA is that people do wear makeup at Runyon. Lots of people wear makeup at Runyon. Runyon is in the middle of West Hollywood. It is a hill. It is a place to work out, and there are people working out. However, I think another podcast I was listening to said that they're like already carrying 30 pounds of filler. So what's the difference if they have some concealer and foundation on? Like, they're absolutely wearing makeup. They're taking pictures and videos on the hill. They're meeting people. It's like a place to be seen, even though it's working out. So people are wearing makeup. Michelle wearing makeup to Runyon isn't crazy. This has been a PSA.
Well, that was my shocking moment where we learn the possible investigation into how Michelle might have overlapped with her relationship with Aaron and Jesse because
Jesse's really trying to build that narrative.
Yes, and apparently it's working, according to Watch What Happens Live. And because she would always come back with some honey when she was near Runyon from Aaron's honey business.
Thomas, we need to talk about the honey investigation we did the other night.
A deep dive into the hive.
So I would call Thomas excited about recording today because there's just so much to talk about. And I was watching the episode for like the third time, and I caught a major detail that I just didn't see the scene. Something happened like the other two times I watched the episode, and I heard them talking about it. I knew it happened, but I didn't see the scene. So I was like, how did I miss this? And then we started talking about this kilo honey. And we looked it up, and we went to the website and looked at kilo honey, and it's white, and it looks a little bit like semen.
It has a cummy visage, yes.
It's a remarkable remarkable resemblance to
in
semen.
viscosity, cloudiness. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
And upon further investigation, I mean, insert clip here of us discovering it because I screen recorded it because I was so shocked. And I was like, oh, I could put this on TikTok. We discovered that the website was marketing it as white and uncut. And that made us realize that these are cocaine references. He's selling a cocaine honey.
And like, yeah. And like cocaine adjacent advertising and verbiage and
videos of him going out on Hollywood Boulevard with a suitcase that he's opening up in a pink linen suit. And
he is like feeding it on a little stick to Michelle,
like
near
doing
her
a
mouth,
bump.
Doing a bump, but it's even worse because it's near her mouth and it looks like cum. It's
like a
so
cum bump
gross.
of honey.
And he's like shoveling into her mouth, but it could just
it's
go
shocking.
further, a little bit up further north, and it's Coke. Just go to the nose, and it looks like Coke. And it's there's reviews by like Michelle and Janet that are like, "This is the best honey."
Yeah, there's like review section on the website. I bought a bottle. We're gonna try it. We're gonna try the cum honey.
Have to.
The cum cocaine honey. I don't know how they even get the honey to be that color. It's bizarre.
Well, apparently that's in its raw state. I don't know. We looked up like raw white honey, but raw is different than like uncut was a choice. That word
He's
was a
using
choice.
the word uncut on the website.
Uncut
and
with
I
other
first thought of
drugs.
circumcision, and then
Me too.
after 5 minutes we realized, God,
we
talk
fully were
about us
talking
not
about-
being into cocaine. After like 5 minutes we realized, oh wait, they cut cocaine with stuff. So calling it uncut is
saying it's
because
pure.
it's a reference to cocaine.
And then we went, oh my God, a kilo of honey.
Wait, kilo honey. I'm pulling it up now. We have to read it.
How much does a kilo of cocaine cost? That's a lot, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
So here's some of the reviews. Janet, gotta be our Janet, said, the honey of all honeys with hands up emoji.
Great.
Let's see. Sue Mallon said, best honey ever. 831 Catering said, it's the best fucking honey we've ever had in our lives.
That's one of their
Plant
partners,
Daddies said, best honey in the fucking world. This has
also
got
one
to
of their
be
partners.
like Aaron writing fake reviews, or like he
No,
had
those
them
are-
all over and asked them to do it.
Yeah, those are some of their partners that they partner with. I read that.
Here's the product description next to the bottle that I purchased before we started recording this episode. Kilo Company honey. A half kilo of pure uncut white honey in a squeeze bottle that's easy to handle. The Kilo Company is all about scoring wild and organic goods from the healthiest spots on the planet. One taste and you'll be hooked. And then there's the little thing of Michelle and her perfect skin eating the honey on a stick, which literally looks like a line on the
being
stick.
fed it. Yeah.
And then there's like there's all these videos of Aaron out on the street in a pink suit with these white dress shoes and no socks, and he is like
Accosting
showing people and trying to sell his honey from a briefcase on the Walk of Fame on the stars.
Like a Deal
here.
or No Deal suitcase that would have kilos of cocaine.
It's supposed
in
to.
the
I think
Lobster
he's
movie.
supposed to be like a cocaine dealer, like in a
Right.
suit with a suitcase, and he's like giving. It's very like Miami with a white suitcase and white shoes.
Correct. Except
And
it's
his like
ugly
everyone's
pink.
talking about his receding hairline, so I'll just throw it in the mix.
Yeah, it does look good on him though. I'm not him and Walton Goggins.
No, it
they're bringing
doesn't.
back.
No, it doesn't. Pink is not his color.
Oh, I meant the hairline, but yeah, no, the pink doesn't
Oh.
look good.
I just also like they're drizzling it over like a plate of fruit, and it looks really gross because it's a squirt bottle and it's like drippy.
Right.
It looks not like honey. Okay.
Okay.
I think they would sell more bottles if they marketed to the gay community and like referenced it more to semen. I think they would sell more
Right.
bottles.
And put
But they're going to sell a ton
uncut.
of bottles now because I'm putting this on TikTok and it's going to burst through the door. Everyone's going to be like, what? Cocaine honey on the season where Jax goes to rehab for coke? Like, Do you think
not
they
right.
buried that storyline on purpose because of they didn't want to make it seem like they were glamorizing cocaine?
Right, we're not going to talk about the big white elephant in the room, okay?
Zach's demonic behavior. Zach's demonic behavior. Demonic, 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 demonic. Zach's demonic behavior.
Go get daddy a drink.
Ew.
Danny says, go get daddy a drink.
But, you know, it's
And
like
he
his
gets-
slightly
he-
southern accent. So he was like, go get daddy a drink.
Something that's kind of swept under the rug in this episode, but it's definitely alluded to because they're building this narrative that Danny has a little bit of a drinking problem, is
Right.
that at a past event, Danny gets schmasted and he says to Jasmine, go get daddy a drink. And then at one point, like, slaps Janet's girlfriend on the butt.
Or I thought he grabbed it.
Either way, is it wrong
Either way,
of me
it's
to...
wrong.
I would be okay with this behavior. Is that wrong of me?
Oh, yeah. No, are you kidding? I would do whatever he wanted, but that...
Like,
I think
I'll get
that's-
daddy a drink.
Yeah, right, yeah. Of course, daddy. Yeah, no problem.
And then I'd probably, like, present my butt to be slapped
literally
while I
would-
go get the drink. Like...
I literally be like, and what if I don't, daddy? You gonna spank me? Yeah, like it's called yes and, Jasmine, okay?
Okay, I get it that he did it to, like, the lesbian couple or the bi couple, but the girl-girl relationship couple. So I obviously totally understand why they're angry at this, like, machismo man telling them to... I just literally think that Danny is so... and I'm not justifying his poor actions, and he gave a very proper and direct apology that they showed on camera too.
Right.
But I think he is just so tired. When he gets to let loose, he has one drink too many because he's not out drinking the way he used to drink before he had kids. And then he says something embarrassing like, go get daddy a drink. It's like when a guy goes, beer me. And it's
Right.
like,
Ew,
okay, that
beer
was
me.
funny like 10 years, 15 years ago, beer me. But like, it's like Danny's doing that.
My understanding, maybe I'm wrong, is that he doesn't know that person very well. So, like, that's not great. I think overall it is gross what he did, but
Right.
it seemed to be a genuine apology, and it seems to be not a problem anymore, but then it is. I don't know.
Here's my question, and this is a little dark. Just sometimes I have to sit back and I have to remember that these people are on a reality show and they're choosing to live a life where they're on cameras, they're thinking about what they do, they're reviewing what they do, they have discussions about their actions in another episode, et cetera, et cetera. And I thought to myself, I said, did they give Danny a hero edit in season 1 where he was drinking? Because we did see him drunk in a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Did they give him him and Nia a hero edit in season 1 because there wasn't many heroes to highlight, and so America liked them, so they gave them a cleaner edit and didn't allude to Danny's drinking issues in season 1? Or is this a new development, or is this something a little spicy about the second season? Now, because they were favorites in season 1, they want to show that their relationship's not picture perfect, so they're highlighting and building a narrative around the drinking thing.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of like, well, we can't have them be the perfect couple the whole time. We need something here. And he
Right.
did do it, so it should be talked about. Or no, I don't know if that needs to be talked about, but it was brought up. So the producers probably ran with it. Oh, okay, let's stage a meeting for you guys to meet up and apologize.
Well, yeah, they do. Yeah, of course they do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they didn't even really show it. They showed it in a flashback because it was referenced on the show. Like, they almost didn't even have it in the episode.
Right, which makes me think that maybe it was something like a pickup shoot or like something they filmed later, because maybe he just apologized off camera and they said, oh no, we need that for the story. Let's do that in real life. Let's do it on camera.
That's possible too, yeah.
Yeah.
He was all leaving demonic behavior, but still on topic of Danny. I will say something that didn't make my list, but that was kind of a little favorite moment of mine, was seeing how scared he was and how he was really trying to think at Dave and Buster's when he found out that Jesse was going to find out that he told Luke. And I saw fear in Danny's eyes. He was
Yeah,
really
when-
trying to think about how he was going to tell Jesse that this was out. And he was like, so stuff is going down.
Yeah.
And Jesse's like, what kind of stuff?
He was completely stone-faced when Brittany confronted him about it. It was Brittany, Michelle, and I think Nia was there too. And Nia kept being like, well, honey, it's out. So, like, you gotta address it. And he just was like,
He's like Schwartz, like really trying to process,
Yes.
didn't want to move a muscle, like think. But like nothing's coming to my head. Oh my God. And then he had to walk over to Jesse and like tiptoe into like, so I told Luke.
yeah. He's
He's
"Well,
like,
you did
well,
the one
Luke's
thing
over
you
there
weren't
telling the
supposed to."
girls.
Right. I know he tried to pawn it off on Luke.
What I love about Jesse's choices is that he then makes it into this whole thing about the mole. There's been a mole in the group.
Oh, the mole. Mm-hmm.
There's a mole in the group, and we've been trying to figure out who the mole is, and now I think it's you, Danny.
Out here in the wild, wild West Valley, trust is a currency rarer than a sober Sunday brunch at Jax's. And someone's been spilling the beans.
We're looking for one slippery son of a texting gun, the mole. This rattlesnake's been squealing secrets from the sacred 20-man text thread. The bro code has been broken. Group chats have been compromised. And respectfully, it's given Judas.
He's been known to emoji react just to blend in. But don't be fooled. 1 minute he's LOLing at a pic of someone's sunburned nipple. The next, he's forwarding receipts to somebody's baby mama or worse, whispering in Luke's ear.
Could it be Jason? Impossible. He's got an android. The group chat turned green the moment he joined. That man can't even see reactions, let alone leak them.
Or Danny, freshly added to the chat. A data 3 under 3. Bored out of his skull and looking to let the horse out of the barn.
Do you like that? Let the horse out of the barn? Isn't that
I
fun?
love it.
If you or someone you know has information about the mole in the group chat, please contact Hillside Sheriff Joseph Lowley.
Until then, ride safe out there, partner, and keep your iMessages locked and your group chats tighter than Janet's top bun.
Good. That was good.
Did you write this? This is great.
Okay, great. So there's a mole in the group, and Jesse's saying it could be Danny. I mean, Jesse will do anything to, like, I said this on our season 1 review, Jesse and Danny almost have like a big brother, little brother thing going on where like Danny isn't gonna really go toe to toe with Jesse. I hope it happens in like a season 3 or 4, seriously. But because Danny has told Luke this thing, Jesse's not gonna let him get away with breaking the group chat rules. And it wouldn't surprise me if him and Jax already removed Danny from the group chat. Wouldn't surprise me.
I think they said in the after show that they did remove him.
My thing, though, is that Jesse is just like, he's not emotionally regulated. I'm not going to say that. But I think, like, if anyone was going to make a case for sociopathic behavior, like, he's not even threatened that Michelle heard this lie in the group chat. Like, he's not. And he's comfortable then just twisting it on Danny and saying, like, oh, you're the mole. And then going and addressing the rumor in the room, or just being okay with the rumor being there because he just created this thing up.
And all the women are saying, this is a group of 20 moles. They all talk to us about this bullshit.
And it's crazy. Yeah, literally. And they're all, and what's crazy though is Michelle has this visceral reaction and she's crying about it. She's really upset about this lie. And I'm like, why is this lie from Jesse bothering you? Like, is it just a bad day? Is it like an emotional day and it's like she's had enough? Or is it because the whole time she's been at Dave & Buster's, she's been on high alert waiting for Jesse to come fuck it up? And now he's fucked it up. So like her nervous system was waiting for hours for this? Or is it because there's like some kind of weird truth? Like she's not, she has to make money. So maybe one of her friends or past clients or like a friend with benefits or a hookup buddy is giving her money and maybe she is having a little sex with them too. Like whatever. Like either way, does it really matter? Who cares if you're having sex with someone and they're giving you money?
And like
this is Hollywood. This is everyone's doing that.
And he's saying it to his 19 friends. They're not, who gives a shit what they think?
Like, aren't they literally looking at his messages and going, oh, here goes Jesse again. Like, can't deal with his divorce. Like,
so-called rookie of the year of the first season of the group chat. Gross.
Ew. What do you think that means?
It just means that he was the grossest.
Sharing to be rookie of the year in the group chat? Like, what are you sharing?
Right. Exactly. Disgusting.
But it's not surprised that he wants to protect the integrity of the group chat if he was rookie of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, she just instantly started crying, which led to one of my favorite quotes of the episode when Janet says, I feel bad for Michelle. I've never seen anyone cry in Dave & Buster's ever.
I got to tell you, this is Janet's perfect birthday party. This is her perfect birthday party. She gets to go to Dave & Buster's. She gets to play all the games she wants in her ugly fanny pack and her like weird jumpsuit thing. And she gets to be seen as the fun Midwestern girl, but then also everyone's crying and fighting at her party. Like this is the highlight of her life, I would argue. I think she's dreamt of this since she watched Vanderpump.
I'm going to be honest, this was my third favorite moment. She earned a lot of points for me because she just seemed really down to earth this episode with Dave & Buster's with her fanny pack. And then you fell for it. I did. When she was like, first you get your dress for the part, you get your fanny pack. She was like, I have my 4 cards loaded with points. Then you go to the prize room and you check out what the prizes are. You make a plan, have a goal. And then you go play the games. You get a heavy coin. It was great. The last 2 times I've been to Dave & Buster's was with my ex. And then I went on a first date there. And remember when they were like, oh, we're going to the Northridge one? What about the one in Hollywood and Highland? I went to that one on my first date. So it was a while ago. And it was not fun.
We're going to go to the Northridge one when you come to LA. We're planning a whole series of events that are all Bravo based, and we're gonna have to go to the Dave & Buster's in Northridge.
Busters.
What is it called? Dave & Buster's?
Busters, yeah.
I thought it was like a street busker. I thought it was busker, like a street performer.
Honestly, that would probably be better, but no, it's just 2 guys named Dave and Buster.
Oh, my bad. See, I'm so not American enough. Okay, my final shocking moment is when Michelle gets the audacity to start running around and collecting votes that Jesse should have to stay in a hotel on his own trip.
This was my shocking moment too. It's like, that's like going on a playground and be like, so I thought we should go on the swings, but everyone else has the slide. So let's have a vote. What do you think? I think swings.
It's worse than that. Like. It's literally going, Thomas is having a birthday party and he wants to go to Chuck E. Cheese. But I said we should go to Wally World. So let's take a vote. Where should we go? Chuck E. Cheese or Wally World? I don't think Thomas should come. Like, literally. Do you think Thomas should get to come to his own birthday party? Like, that's what it feels like. And it's hysterical. And I know, and what's cool is that we're so far along on these shows and like we've watched so many different Bravo shows that we know that production like kind of gives everybody like their own event. And here's a little Housewives something. Whoever gets the first event of the Housewives season, that's kind of like an honorary thing. They fight for that. Like that's something they want to have the first event of the season to control the playing field of the season. So like a veteran like a Kyle Richards might be really contending for that. Or if they know like Erica Jane is going into her divorce and all the lawsuit stuff, to entice the deal, they might give her the first event of the season. So everyone kind of gets their own event, and I'm sure that it's in the production deal that like the Airbnb mansion that they're staying at is being paid for by the show. But like Jesse's picking it out and organizing it. It's Jesse and now Kristen's trip. And so the audacity Michelle has to like run around and be like, he shouldn't get to come. We don't want him there, right?
Yeah.
Who do you vote for? And like even that she goes up to Kristen and asks Kristen who she's going to vote for. Hilarious. Shocking.
Kristen immediately says Jesse. Well, he is organizing it, and I'm helping him. And she's like, okay, fine. And then she looks to Jasmine and Nia, who both are like, I don't know. I think, that just feels wrong. And then she starts crying again. I was like, ooh, that's what got her, is her. She's like, oh, so wait, so multiple people aren't agreeing with me, not just Kristen? Okay.
Wait, I have a question then about the editing. Do you think she started that when she got there and then actually the rumor about her sleeping for money happened after?
Oh,
and
maybe.
then they edited it the other way around?
Yeah,
Because she
maybe.
seemed pretty positive and bubbly walking around asking for votes. I find it hard to believe she was doing that. She was doing that after she cried about being called basically a prostitute.
Yeah, maybe
Right?
yeah, maybe that breakdown where she goes in the corner was the actual end of it.
Yeah. Maybe they edited it in different order. This stuff is so interesting to me as somebody who makes movies and that. I think it's fascinating how they decide to put these stories together.
But Janet won another point for me when she was like, when Michelle was trying to get a vote, she's like,
You're giving Janet a lot of points this episode.
I am. Well, it just was funny. She's like, yeah, girl, you're good, girl. Let me win my coins. Whatever you want. I loved it. Like,
She's like,
you're a
I gotta
Dave
go
and
over here
Buster's.
to this like coin drop machine, and she's like
Yeah.
over there like celebrating, and then
She's like,
Michelle's
yeah, girl,
crying.
whatever. Team Michelle. Yep. All right, let me get my coins. I don't know. You're supposed to be having fun at Dave and Buster's, not crying in a corner.
It's perfect.
I think the after show notes, all I had was that Danny's being a bit of a mess this season. He just is getting his nose in a lot of stuff.
I mean, I just think I don't think he's bored, but I think he's bored. Like I think his whole life now is like the voiceover work, the kids, and this show, and so it's hard to not get caught
He's
up
about
in
to have
it.
another one.
And as much as men like to gossip more than women half the time, like as much as these guys are pretending they're better than their wives because they're being misogynists, I feel like they love it.
Yeah.
And also, Danny and Nia are people similar to, honestly, you know what a lot of these friends have in common, maybe except for like a Zach or a Kristen, is that they're all really ambitious and they are all the type of people that are really pushing to succeed in their career paths. Like they want to be seen as successful and they're uncompromising on it. So I could see Danny getting more involved in the mix and the drama this season because he wants to be successful. That's why Nia's a good glue going and encouraging Zach on the season finale last year to go talk to Janet and these people about this stuff. Like they're like rubber. They bounce off really quickly and come back into their scenes really well. And I think we're going to have a great run of this show because these people are like this and they all want the same thing.
I have this app where I track the TV shows that I watch, and they have little synopses of each episode, and it looks like the Santa Barbara trip is like 3 or 4 episodes. I'm very excited about that.
Oh my God. All I know is I saw a clip of Michelle throwing a drink at Jesse, and I can't wait.
Oof.
We haven't seen a good drink throw since Vanderpump.
Oh my God, yes.
Well, this what when do you want to hear some really cool background story about that scene where Schwartz dumped a beer on Katie?
Oh yeah, please.
Guess what? When
What?
it was Stassi's birthday, it was at season 2, and Schwartz dumped
I
a
think it was
beer on
season
Katie's
2.
head. I think
Yeah.
it was. They had to redo that scene. So they went back the next day and Katie had to have another beer dumped on her head.
What?
Because they didn't get it on camera.
So wait. So she just because she's like wasted in that. They're both wasted in that.
Isn't
clip.
that
They just
so
pretended?
fucked up?
They just pretended to be wasted.
I don't know if they pretended to be wasted. I don't know where they picked it up. I haven't watched it back to analyze it, but Katie Maloney said in an interview, I don't remember what podcast it was on, but she said
God.
that scene is an example of a scene that had to be redone.
Wow.
So imagine your boyfriend dumping a beer on your head, and then your job says, it wasn't good enough. We got to get it again. And so you're going home and sleeping angry and drunk at that man that night. And then the next day you're told you have to do it again.
And pretend like it's the first time. That is so horrible.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Wow.
It's no wonder that some of these, like Lisa Vanderpump was on Alex Baskin's podcast. Again, I'm talking about that podcast because it's so direct and it's straight to the point. And he has these established relationships with these people, these Bravo celebrities, and he can ask them whatever they want and they answer. And it's almost like a muscle memory. And so he's talking to Lisa Vanderpump, who's, I don't know if she's doing reconnaissance since the James Kennedy stuff came out, or if she's promoting Vanderpump Villa season 2. I think it might be both. But she does kind of like this interview with Alex Baskin, talks about everything you want to hear about Kyle Richards stuff, if she'd ever be back on Housewives of Beverly Hills, what she thinks of the new season of Vanderpump that's coming out. It's a great episode. Again, I recommend you listen to it. But she is talking about how a lot of the kids that were on Vanderpump Rules, aren't all appreciative for the opportunity they were given. And this is something that I've heard Katie talk about before too, where it's like there's always, with Lisa, it was never like we're friends or she's somebody I can really lean on. And like she said that the relationship has changed over the years, but that at the end of the day, there's always an air with Lisa that like you should be grateful for what you have. And Lisa confirmed that on the podcast. So when you think about Katie having to go back and do a scene, like getting a beer dumped on your head by your boyfriend at your best friend's birthday, and you have to repeat that scene, and it leads, and you're on this show then for another 10 years, you marry and divorce that man, and have to go through all these obstacles of women throwing themselves at him at bars, and Jax pushing drinks on him to get him to cheat on Katie in Vegas, and all this stuff. Like, you look back at all that, and you're like, well, no fucking wonder Katie's not kissing, bending and kissing the ring about being on Vanderpump. It's like, it gave her opportunity and paid her bills, but like, what is she showing for it?
What's the James Kennedy stuff? What's that?
I'm not going to tell you. You have to keep watching Vanderpump, and as life goes on, we'll update you. But I don't want to spoil stuff that's coming out for you because I'm so jealous that you get to go back and watch Vanderpump Rules with not knowing anything.
Yeah,
it's a gift.
Yeah.
And if you offered me a memory erasing tool like Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, where I could go in and be like, make me forget everything Vanderpump Rules so that I can spend a full month rewatching it all for the first time, like I would do it. That'd be so good. It's such a great. Have you thought about what you're going to watch after Vanderpump Rules? Because I have some petitions. I want to, I think I have some options I would love for you to consider. Yeah,
if it's probably in the same vein, I'd be open to hearing suggestions.
Okay, so there's two directions you could go in. One you're familiar with because in the past I've tried to get you to watch Southern Charm.
Southern Charm, yeah. So I think I watched a couple episodes of that with you. And then I was mad because the main guy named Thomas was like not a good person, and that made me upset.
I hope you've grown since then, and you can see
that not all Thomases. Hey guys, not all Thomases, okay?
PSA. Just kidding.
Not every Thomas. And then Summer House was introduced to me via that crossover episode in season 5, I think, where it became a Summer House episode. Is that the other one you want me to watch?
Yes, that actually is the other show. I feel like in the scheme, there's some overlap episodes on Summer House where you see Vanderpump people come through. It's about it's East Coast people partying in the Hamptons. I think that could also be a really good pull. I actually think Summer House might be the next best option for you, and then we bring you to Southern Charm because then there's overlap with people on Summer House and Southern Charm.
Okay, it's the chain reaction.
Yeah, it's so good. Do you want to move in and just watch it all here on my couch? Because I would love to watch you watch it.
When I come visit, we'll have to at least we'll have to do a marathon one day.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll live stream it. Okay, great. Well, I think that's like literally everything we had to cover for the 2 episodes.
Fantastic.
Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for attending the meeting today, Thomas.
I never miss it. I'm not allowed to miss it. I still got my chip. I am, fervently watching.
And we'll get to talk to you when episode 4 comes out, episode 5 comes out. We'll see you again.
I would love that.
Meeting adjourned.
Yes, meeting adjourned.
Thank you, addicts, for attending this meeting of Bravoholics Anonymous, and we'll see you next week.